then get into Rebel Moon. If I can't sleep, I'll just get back on Twitch after and we'll see. Story of how you got bit by a dog in the face. It's not much of a story. I wish it was more of a story, but what happened is, before I raid somebody, what happened was, I was watching, I want to say I was watching The Crocodile Hunter, and he's like, oh, crikey, you know, crikey, me mates, crikey, you know, and he's like opening up a crocodile's mouth and he's putting his head in the crocodile mouth. And there was a lab, we had a lab at the time, a dog lab, and the dog was asleep. He was passed out, right? And I was like, oh, crikey, it's a crocodile. And I like opened his mouth to put my head in. And as I opened his mouth to put my head in, I was like 5 or 6. So it was like very abrupt. And I woke him up and scared him. And he bit me across the face like, hold on. Like, so the bottom tooth is here. He bit me across the face like this, right? And he bit me so hard that my eyeball came out. That's why I have a scar here. So he didn't damage my eye because what happened is he bit me and then he realized that I was a person. That's how we know I really scared him. So he bit like this and then let go. He never closed. He just went and then pulled out. So my eyeball fell out. It was like I remember standing up and you know, in the 90s, like everybody had mirrored bed. Like the beds in the 90s were like, everything was like wall, like whole wall things. Like if you got a TV stand, it was an entire wall stand, right? So it was the same thing with like the beds. So you got a bed, but it was a whole wall stand. It came with like the dressers and everything attached and it was all mirrored. And I remember standing up and being like, ah, and going, ah, and seeing my face in the mirror as I slowly turned around with my eyeball like flying over. And then I got stuck in the ER because it was like a 45-minute drive to the ER. So the two people, the parents that are watching me, are like arguing who's gonna drive because one person doesn't like blood, the other person drives too slow, right? So they're arguing while my face is smushed into a towel with my like eyeball falling out. And this scar was actually a lot bigger. It was like this big. I've had a lot of surgery on it, so it was like this big. So we get to the eyeball with like a pillow with a towel over my face covered in blood, and my eyeballs popped out. And you know what the ER does? Because it's in farm country, so there's not a lot of them. So there is always a wait time. So I'm waiting like 45 minutes. They put me on a table and they literally put a tape paper over this whole half of my face not to touch my eyeball. And then right here, they put a big Band-Aid over. So I'm like waiting, like drinking a juicy sippy cup, right? And I'm like crying, and the woman who's watching me comes in and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And she's crying. And then the dad who comes in to like talk to me, he's like, hey, just think about this. You can fuck with your friends in school. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, you can drink that drink and squirt it out the side of your mouth. And I remember drinking like an old school milk in a fucking squeeze bottle and squirting it out the side of my mouth. And the nurse comes over like, hey, this is good bad for you. You're gonna get an infection, because I was like squirting it out the side of my mouth. I was straight up like Two-Face. And then for like 5 months, I had stitches, and they weren't the dissolvable kind back then, or it was just our ER was cheap and they didn't have those. So I had stitches for like a good 2 months. I had marks on my face for a good 6 months. And I just remember everybody being like, ew, you have dirt stuck in your face. You have dirt stuck in your face. You're a dirty foster girl. Because it was all like speckled dirt. It was really funny. It was 2 mouths. This was in Reading, Pennsylvania. I hope they have more hospitals since then. Yeah, Reading, Pennsylvania. So my eye, so listen to this. My eye never got damaged, but that's why if you see, my brow is actually different than this side. And this actually has a scar across it. And my eye was a little lazy for years, so I had to wear a patch over it, but I got really lucky, didn't damage it. But I will say that it was just like one of the funniest things. It was really, really funny. Oh, the other craziest part is, so they didn't put me under actual anesthesia. When they were stitching me up, they put me under something called VersaSleep. So you're in suspended animation. So you're kind of awake, but you don't remember it. So they didn't give me enough. And I actually woke up while the doctor was stitching in my eyeball. Like he was putting it into socket and stitching it in. And I remember I was horrified of nurses and doctors, because when I woke up, he was actually jumped on top of me, and the other nurses held down my arms, and he put his whole body weight and he was holding me down while the nurses were holding my arm. And I just remember, like, I have this weird half memory of a dude with all his pressure on me stitching in my eyeball. It was like, that was like the most wildest experience. For like years, I was so afraid of the doctor. I'd go to the doctor to get a shot, and I'd just be like, no! I would put my arms and my hands on the door and be like, no! And it'd take like 4 or 5 people to push me through the doors. Oh no, prodigal. Yeah. It was wild. Hit you in the face while driving? I have. And it was crazy because I just remember I was dreaming, like, how much more bumblefuck Pennsylvania can you get, right? What I remember when I woke up from the VersaSleep was, not only do I remember the doctor, like I have this weird, like, half dream, half reality of the doctor and the nurses. And fucking cows, bro. Cows. I remember waking up and talking about cows right away. That was the first thing I talked about. I saw cows when I was put under. Cows and clouds. Like, how bumblefuck more fucking Pennsylvania can you get than cows? I do drugs and I'm like, wow, I saw some amazing cows. I grew up in bumblefuck Southwest PA, so you know. What do you mean? Oh, these are actual rainbow dots. It was fucking wild. Okay, let me see who to raid. I do feel like Pennsylvania hospitals are really crazy, and there's so many farm accidents that happen. So like the emergency rooms actually are a decent amount of wait line because there's a lot of farm accidents happen. It's like I need to find guys. If you want to do me a favor, mods, I'll let people post this just for today and tomorrow. If you guys have any recommendation on girl gamers, not girls that play games with their cleavage out, I'm not against it, but girl gamers that don't try and get any clickbait, if you want to drop it in the Discord under suggestions, I would absolutely love that because I'm running out of girl gamers. So please drop it in the Discord. Thanks, Anthony. As it should be. Get a Discord, James. We're about to watch Rebel Moon in it. It's going to be so good. Lynn's Fry. Dave, can you put it in my Discord under suggestions, please? Mods don't... I'm allowing people to put other Twitch channels in suggestions. Oh, I saw Park and Harbor, and I absolutely love her. Wait. Oh, she is. I missed her. Oh, she's playing Deathless. Alright, guys. So we're going to go watch Rebel Moon in Discord right now. So click the link that Stream Elements was posted. I'm going to be on tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I'll be fucking here. I'm going to get my blood drawn at 7 a.m. taking the dogs on a hike. I'll be here at 10:30 a.m. in the morning. Tomorrow we're actually going to get into some games. We're going to start off with Lies of P for about 2 hours, and then we'll be going over to Mortal Kombat. Actually, I think we should play Tekken demo before we go to Mortal Kombat. So come hang out. Let's play the Tekken demo before we play Mortal Kombat tomorrow. We'll be playing Lies of P for 2 to 4 hours. I'll see you guys in Discord for Rebel Moon. Thanks for hanging out. Peace out.